Hello YouTube, my name is bumpydogz, not my real name. I've been producing in Ableton for about 3 years, so not a huge amount of time. But recently some of my friends showed some interest in some of the tracks that I've been doing, and so I thought I'd just do a quick breakdown of my latest track. I may do some more if there's any interest. So yeah, if you are interested, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button. If you have any questions, then leave them in the comments section below, and I promise to get back to you. Also, I should just say I'm by no means an expert, so yeah, if you have any advice for me on how to make my track sound better, then that would also be appreciated. So yeah, it is a very simple track. There's only 13 tracks within it. I was originally trying to make an M83 outro type kind of epic sound, and I'd also recently gone to see the film Tenet, and I was really impressed with the soundtrack. So that was the kind of vibe I was going for. Really, it's not my usual style, but yeah. So I'll play a bit of it now. But for the whole track, just visit my SoundCloud page. I'll put a link in the description, and also on my SoundCloud page you can find quite a few more tracks that I've done that get increasingly more embarrassing as you go backwards in time. So yeah, here's a bit of my track anyway. So there you go. So as I say, it's quite a simple track. There's not much to it, but let's start at the top and then go through it. So starting with a kick. So for most of the drums only really come in at the end, but I used a plugin called Studio Drummer, which is absolutely fantastic. It basically gives you a load of different grooves, a load of different styles, and the great thing about it is you can actually drag this stuff out as MIDI and then basically edit it and do what you want with it, really. And I think it just sounds fantastic. It's really good. So yeah, so what I did is I basically took one of these presets, I edited it and then split it out. So I split the kick out, and then the hats and the snares in this track here. So the kick by itself just sounds like this. Yeah, so there's not much processing. I added this transient shaper just to give it a bit more of a pumping style and a bit less sustain. Ableton drum bus, I didn't even EQ it. And then there's a limiter here as well. So I generally add a limiter with just -1 dB of gain on every single track, just to make sure that I'm not clipping. So here's the kick in the context of the whole track. so with the drums, so it's just basically I've got a little bit of EQ and the limiter again on the drums group. So I've just got this low crash, which sounds like this. Hopefully you can hear that. It's pretty low frequency, so you might not be able to. It just adds a bit more presence to the crash, really. And here's the kind of high end. So yeah, with a bit of Valhalla vintage verb on it. So both together it sounds like this. So fairly straightforward with a bit of EQ. In terms of reverb, so I use Valhalla vintage verb. So if you are going to buy one Reverb VST, then I totally recommend this one. It's very versatile. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of YouTube videos on it, so I won't go into any more detail at this point. But yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. And then the real drums. So this again is the other half of the studio drummer. So it sounds like this. And I didn't even EQ it. It just sounds that good, really. So the melody. So for the melody group, this is, I don't usually do this, but I've actually got the bass and all the pads and the lead all within the same group. And the reason for that is I wanted to apply this reverb to the whole group, really. So this reverb is MYT, Make Your Transition. Basically, if you Google search it, you'll find the guy. He does some really good tutorials, actually, and this is his Reverb Chain. It's really good, because the good thing about it is it only applies the reverb to the high end, so you can literally just chuck a whole group of stuff at it, and it won't kind of apply the reverb to the lower frequencies, which you don't really want. So I'll just solo the reverb just so you can hear what it sounds like. So yeah, it's pretty effective, I think. I like it. So that's that. So the synth pad. So this is a Diva patch. So this is pretty much where the kind of track began, really. I just found this preset, which is called Deep Space Diva, which I think is fantastic. And then what I did is I basically added a LFO onto it to give it that pumping sound. And then I automated the cutoff so that the kind of pumping kind of fades in and out. So if I solo it, it sounds like this. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Diva. I use Diva and I use Serum, and Serum's brilliant. You can make pretty much any sound within it. But I just love the kind of the old school analog kind of quality of Diva. I think it just sounds amazing, really. So yeah, and it's got a bit of EQ, a bit of Valhalla vintage verb, and then just a bit of wide stereo, just to basically bring the sound out to the sides a bit more. So that's that. The bass sounds like this. It's basically the Scarby Mark 1. It's got quite a severe EQ on it, so if I take that off, and then it's just got a bit of compression, and then bass mono, just to make sure that all the bass frequencies are in mono rather than stereo. The reason for that kind of severe EQ is basically sitting beneath that you've got the sub, which hopefully you can hear, and that was a Diva preset. I think I just made some minor adjustments to the cutoff and LFO frequency, but if you listen to the two of them together, it kind of sits quite nicely, I think. So that's that. Don't think I've got any more automation on any of this. Let's just check. Nope. Yeah, so strings. So the strings were Spitfire Labs. So these are free, and if you haven't got them already, just get them. They're just absolutely fantastic. You basically get a load of free instruments. They are super high quality, and it's just fantastic. And it sounds like this. The chords are quite simple, so it's not really making the most of the sound. And all it's got on it is a bit of EQ and a bit of reverb. So that's that track. The lead. So the lead was Diva again. I think this was just a preset that I made some adjustments to. Yeah. So let's take all of these off. So it sounds like this on its own. And then the multi-band compression just kind of excites some of the frequencies. The effect rack. So this was a preset from Tom Wolf's pack. I think I only got it for a couple of quid. But yeah, all of the Sound Toys stuff is absolutely fantastic, so I totally recommend it. And then it's just got a bit of vintage verb and a bit of EQ. So the EQ just kind of brings out some of the higher frequencies and makes it sit better. So that's without. And then with. So that's that. So the choir, so this was. Bear with me a sec. Yeah, so this was Exhale from Output. So it's just one of their presets. I didn't really change it much. I just tried to create a kind of counter melody in there. Fairly straightforward, really. Yeah, and then it's just got a little bit of processing on it. So it's got a bit of reverb, a bit of EQ. I don't think the neutron elements is doing much at all. It sounds like this. So that's that. So yeah, this vocal, I'm not going to play it. This is actually a poem by W.B. Yeats called The Second Coming, which is also the title of the track. So it's actually him reading it there back in 1919 or something. But I'm not. This is my first video. I'm not sure of the rules on YouTube about whether I can actually play this or not. So if you want to hear it, I suggest just listen to my SoundCloud. As I say, I'll link the track in the description. But yeah, there's pretty much not much processing on it. A bit of compression, a bit of EQ, a bit of reverb, wide stereo, and then again that limiter. And then lastly, it's just a riser, really, just a standard white noise riser, bit of EQ, bit of reverb, not much to it. And that's it. So yeah, it's a very straightforward track. I guess that this is really an exercise for me in learning how to make YouTube videos and upload them. So I didn't want to go for a more complicated track. So yeah, but yeah, if you like the video, then subscribe. I'll hopefully try and make some more tracks, and maybe even if I've got enough courage, maybe do a live stream at some point. But yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.